Welcome to the Magdalene Voices, giving voice to those silenced for centuries through sacred conversations with beautiful, illuminating souls. I'm your host, spiritual business coach, mentor, catalyst, and facilitator Maria Estella. I serve spiritual entrepreneurs, Magdalene's rising, and radiant beings just like you with the expansion and growth of yourself and your business, aligning you with your deep inner truth, bringing to life that which you're here to birth, and supporting you in expressing your soul's divine purpose through your being and your doing in this lifetime. If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to join my newsletter to stay connected and updated. You can do so on my website, mariaestella.com, where you can also find previous episodes and their show notes. And if you have ever wondered about your Magdalene connection and calling, and whether you are a Magdalene, I invite you to download the free Magdalene Blueprint I've created for you. Go to mariaestella.com/AYM to get it. Finally, if you're a soul-driven, heart-based spiritual entrepreneur, don't forget to check out my new podcast, Spiritual Business with Maria Estella. It's designed to inspire you, empower you, guide you, nurture you, and activate you. You can find it on YouTube as well as everywhere podcasts are broadcasted, or simply click the link in the show notes. Hello, Radiant One, and a very big and a very warm welcome to this episode of the Magdalene Voices. I am super excited to be diving into today's topic, which is going to be about expanding beyond what you ever dared dream. Notice that I don't say beyond your wildest dreams, because what I have uncovered and discovered in the past few months is that there are dreams that are so far beyond that we, or at least maybe this is just me, that I never even dared dream about them, which has been such a revelation and amazing discovery, because once you lift the veils and once you begin to see, our dreams, and I think I've said this before, I see our goals and our dreams as really our connection to source. It is the idea of what's possible, and when you can let go of more veils or more resistance to, discover your true desires, your true, I don't want to say purpose or mission, but your true desires, and knowing that you can actually work towards them in a way that is fulfilling and nourishing and satisfying is just, it's unreal. It's beyond this world, and it and it excites me, which is why I'm laughing right now, because I'm filled with joy that's bubbling up from within. Even though this episode is actually also partly, and this is where I have to stop myself from tearing up and crying, because in this episode I'm also going to be sharing that the Magdalene Voices is going to be taking an extended break. I have had my business be flooded with clients. I have had an amazing job opportunity come up as well. So I am currently managing or being in that. And that means that I cannot show up fully as I want to in terms of the Magdalene Voices. And the Magdalene Voices is such a, it's not, to me, it's not just a podcast. It's not just a show. It is its own being. It is something that has been gifted to me. And in order for me to be the most honorable or respectful steward of that gift, I want to make sure that I can show up in a way that serves both you and also me and the guests that I am honored to have sacred conversations with. So for now, I'm actually not sure. That what I see currently is that probably somewhere around August, What I will be doing over the next couple of months is that I'm going to be in my meditations, be going deep and be calling in those names that of those Magdalenes that I want to have conversations with and share with you. So I'm going to be in quote unquote in a cave in terms of that and have that come up. I know that there's already a couple of people that have shown up in my consciousness or have been gifted to me by friends who are saying, you should check this one out. And as always, I encourage you that if you have someone you feel resonates with the core principles of the Magdalene Voices of being of service, coming from the heart, having done the work, doing the work, not shying away from dark stuff, but and not spiritually bypassing, but actually being true, then you're more than welcome, as always, to send in your suggestion. I'm going to leave the link in the show notes so you can check that out. Yeah, I think that is what I wanted to say about it. So yeah, probably sometime in August, it's going to come back. So we're going to be taking an extended break, but that is just an opportunity for you to go back and re-listen to all of the many, many, many amazing, wonderful episodes that are already there. That's not going away. You can access that as often as you like, as much as you like, and you can share it as much as you like with those that you feel are in resonance with that work. So that's out of the way. Something that came up for me as I was, I've been contemplating this episode. Actually, I wanted to shoot this yesterday, but I just wasn't in the right space and nothing was really coming up. And I know that I've said this before, but it still never ceases to amaze me how when you choose love, and in this case, this is, I would say that in this case for me, choosing love has been in surrendering, and I do this with a lot of things, and is the surrender of not knowing exactly what's going to happen, or not knowing exactly what I'm going to be talking about, or not knowing exactly which direction this will go in. There's magic that happens, and that's not to negate preparation or structure, organization, which I do love, which if you know me, you know that I love those things. But it's more because if I begin, at least, if you begin, and maybe you have this as well, but if you begin to think about something, for example, the topic of this podcast, I knew that, or not podcast, but this episode, I knew that I wanted to share something. I knew that I wanted to, because I told you that I'd be back on May 3rd, and I'm someone who is very, I stick to my word. So I wanted to make sure that there was something for you on May 3rd, so you wouldn't be going like, oh, where's she at and what's going on? So I knew that I wanted to put out an episode. And I've also had so much stuff going on that I hadn't really had the time to sit down and think about it or meditate about it. But that started happening, I would say, yesterday. But it's been kind of lurking. What I want to say by that is, when you have that idea, there are essentially two ways that you can go about it. There is the, oh shit, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm not going to say, I don't know what to say. I don't know. And nothing is coming up and blah, blah, blah. And you can, go down that route and take yourself down the spiral, and it'll be like, eventually you may produce something, you may create something, but it will be made in that energy because you're actually pushing or forcing it through. Or you can go in the other direction, which is the direction of trust, the direction of surrender, the direction of knowing, which, at first is not necessarily easy, which is why I always recommend that when you begin expanding love in your life, that you train it in areas that are not necessarily full on or difficult, because the more you train your ability to choose love, your ability to deny fear and effect over you, not ignore, because we don't ignore fear, but to notice it, but not to allow it to have an effect over you. The more that you do that, the stronger you become in your ability to choose love, and to the point where it's not really, the charge of fear is just very light, I want to say, in terms of charge. So, so that's what I did. And as I sat in meditation this morning, it just started bubbling up. And this topic of expansion beyond what you ever dreamed possible, yeah, struck me. So I've said that, to me, living a life, having a human experience, I now see as this consistent unveiling, and it's an ongoing process, because like I started out saying, over the past, I want to say, month and a half, it feels like such a long time, but when I look at it like from a time perspective, it's really short. It's like a month and a half, maybe even 2 months. The veils that have been lifted, the veils that I have supported, that I have lifted, has allowed me to see and dreams that I never imagined, not even imagined were possible. There are things that I have suppressed because I didn't think they were obtainable, so that it was far too painful to look at them. So it's better to suppress them and never have them surface. And now that now that the veils have been lifted, they're just coming. They're flying in from left and right, and I'm filled with such a joy for knowing that anything and everything is possible, which is such an incredible place to be in. and you may be asking yourself, so what happened? That's what I ask myself on a daily basis almost as well. And I pinch myself, and because every morning when I wake and I'm like, yes, I pinch myself. I'm like, is this really how life can be? But it is, and it just gets better and better. So what happened was two things. Number one, I have done my work and continue to do my work each and every day in terms of choosing love, of coming from a space of love, of being a source of love, of being an expansion. Again, not in the spiritually bypassing way, although I have in the past been spiritually bypassing. I shared an episode on that. I'm going to link to that in the show notes, because you may even recognize yourself in that as well. But in the what was I saying? Choosing love. I have dealt with my things, and it's so interesting, because in one of the things that have occurred to me, or not occurred, but has come into my life, an opportunity that's come into my life, that has actually brought about things that I thought that I had worked on, like things like, am I enough? I'm not doing good enough. Am I part of this? Can I be part of this? Can I do this? All of my quote unquote fears or insecurities have come back. Not like they did before, where they were debilitating or stopped me from moving forward, but from the space where I'm like, oh, really? You're back? Like, this is it? Like, we're going to deal with this? And it's been such a joy, because I've also, in the community that I've joined, I've been met with the understanding that this is what comes up. And I've been met with such a deep love and, allowance of knowing that this is my shit to deal with, and a space holding where you're able to actually voice your concerns, you're able to voice your fears, and just be held without needing to be fixed or having it go away. But this, and again, essentially understanding that these are just your fears, and not necessarily fears to be, making it out to be that there's anything wrong, which is such a relief, because far too often in our society, we are not able to deal with insecurities or fears without thinking that we need to fix them. So, for example, if you have a friend that comes by and they tell you about an issue or a problem, are you always running towards like, what's the solution? We got to figure out, we got to fix this, we got to blah, 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 blah. Or can you actually be the friend that just sits there and listens and holds space and understand that that is their journey and that you can give them love and support without having to fix it? Because what happens if you try to fix it is that fixing it, if you try to fix it, you take away from their journey. So that's an important piece. So that's the first piece. Love is really key. Love is the way, and that's the first important, crucial piece. Not that you necessarily have to be in a certain place with that, but that you understand that that is the way, and that is your go-to, and that is an expansion. Because 10 years ago, when I think 10 years ago when I started this work, I wasn't where I'm at today with the level of ability that I am at today. So it's always an expansion, and I don't think that 10 years from now I will be, of course, in a different place. So it's always ever expanding, ever evolving, ever unveiling. The second piece, and this has been can I see now, the key piece for me, or like the missing piece, has been energy work. I knew energy, and I think I shared this recently as well. I know energy. I know that everything is energy. I know how, well, I'm not a quantum physics expert at all, but I understand quantum physics. I understand how when we go down to this, to the tiniest or smallest of levels, there's really nothing. We're just, there's just space between everything, which is how we're all connected, and how we're all part of what I call God, Source, Mama Divine. But I never had a physical experience of energy or energy work, the way that I've had in these past 2 to 3 to 4 months. And you may have seen this. An episode I did was with Yvette Taylor, the creator of the Energy Alignment Method, EAM, and that method for me has been that was my missing piece. That's what's been my key, essentially. It's like, well, one of them, because I do think that throughout our lives we receive these different keys, and once you turn it in, and you basically unlock a whole new treasure chest of your purpose, of your passion, of your mission, of your why, or of your being. And it became very obvious to me, actually, from the moment that I met Yvette Taylor in September of 2018, that there was something that we had to do together. And that's something that we've been looking at, or going back and forth. And about a month ago, I actually joined the company. So other than having my clients, I also joined the company. I'm not affiliated, but I am on the inside. If you want to check out Energy Alignment Method, I'll link to it. For me, when I go back into my Essene nature, when I go back into my Magdalene nature, when I go back into the work that I've done for centuries, or maybe even millennia, energy work or healing in some sort has always been a part of it. Whether it be as a witch, whether it be as a priestess, whether it be as a shaman, whether it be as, just working with the elements, energy is essentially at its core. And especially when I look at what Yeshua and Mary Magdalene did, while there was I think that especially for the Magdalene, for Mary Magdalene, and also for all of the Magdalenes, there's always been that blend of the physical, the oils, the crystals, the hand holding, the touching, those practices, the tarot cards, all of that. But there is essentially, it leads to healing on an energetic level, which is what heals, because the physical body is just it's the densest of matters. And so if you want to change or transform anything, you have to shift it on an energetic level. So if you just treat whatever symptoms going on in your body, you're never going to remove, quote unquote, or dissolve the reason why. And what I have experienced both personally, but also seeing the incredible testimonials and feedback from people who have been doing or have been EAMing for a while, is just mind-blowing. And what it has brought into my life is, I want to be, because it's so quote unquote lame to just say that it's mind-blowing, but it truly is. If someone had told me about what's possible, I would have thought they were batshit crazy. I wouldn't have believed them. But now I'm one of those people who are like, that's possible. And there is really nothing that I can't quote unquote be, do, or have. Not from a greedy, needy, fear-based, ego-based perspective, but from a essence, love-based, heartfelt place. One of the things that have come up for me as I am doing this work and as I have joined the organization is that I've noticed how guilt has been seeping in. How am I really allowed to have this much? Am I really allowed to be this happy all the time? Am I really allowed to... And I want to say, it doesn't come without challenges. Remember what I said about how every insecurity, every fear that I've ever had about myself has come flying back. But there is this underlying sense of happiness and joy, which has been there for a long time, but it's just more, which I didn't think was possible, which is what is so good. So that's partly or mainly the reason why the Magdalene Voices is going to be taking an extended break, because I'm going to be pouring my heart and soul into this beautiful, beautiful method. I want to get it into the hands of as many as possible. And I'm also still working with my clients, because clients are consistently finding me, and I want to make sure that I have the time and the space to fully honor that sacred container. When someone joins me for sessions, I want to be there for them as well. And you can't be everywhere at once, which is why for now, the Magdalene Voices is going to be taking, like I said, an extended break. And I also want to say that while my method, the way that I have chosen, or the way I don't want to, it's not, because it's not even true that I chose this. It chose me. It seems as though it's come to me at the right time, at the right place, because when I first encountered it, it was a place where I was invited to go to an event where this was part of it. So it was not something that I had sought out. It sought me out, and it like put its hooks in me and said, now is the time. But I want to say that when it comes to energy work, there are so many different amazing methods out there that are working. So whether it be EAM, energy alignment method, or whether it be something else that works for you, you know, that's up for you to decide, to sit with, to resonate with. And as always, this is my truth and my truth only. I don't as always, I always encourage you to go within and see what's right for you. One of the things that I would like for you to contemplate or take away from this episode as an exercise is that I would like for you to ask yourself if there are things that you want, or a future that you want, that you have not given yourself permission to see or dream about. Because, and that ties back into the work that I do with one-on-one clients, is that very often in the first session, something comes up that is so major and so big and so incredible and so wonderful. And that's what that's what we then in our sessions begin building towards. But I kind of thought that I had done that work, but I realized that what I had been doing was I had actually been eating shit with honey. I'd been covering shit up with honey, and you know, if you cover shit up with honey, it's still shit. And I hadn't seen that. So I wanna, and this is not necessarily fun. This is where spiritual work gets challenging, because we ask ourselves the honest questions, like, is this really true? Is this really true for me? Is there really something that I'm going into? And if you notice, so the way that for me it works, and this is why it may work for you as well. Normally what I sense is that if I get close to something that I am quote unquote scared of or has been suppressed, it's kind of like a blank wall goes up. It's like, oh, there's really nothing there. It's like completely blank. There's no, the sense of it is like sterile. It's like a, like a surgery table room kind of thing, where it's like, it's that feeling that it's like, oh, and then I just allow for that to be, and work on dissolving it so I can see what's behind it. And as always, there's no way out or around. It is only through, which is what we as Magdalenes do. We are the transformers of the world. We transmute fear to love. And the only way to do that is by recognizing, acknowledging, looking at them, and then healing, clearing, expanding in love. Yes. And I think, I'm not sure if I made it completely clear in terms of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, the way that I see them. They were master healers. They were master teachers, and they were able to heal, but from an energetic perspective. So when he healed, it wasn't done, on the physical level. It was done on an energetic level that then created the transformation within the physical body, because that's what we do. We heal on the energetic level, and then that creates the transformation in the physical realm. And that can be, so that's whether you have a physical illness, like you're actually physically sick, or have that within your body, or it can also be in terms of what you want to call in. I have a big dream that I am currently working on. I have said this before. I really don't like the word manifesting, because it's been taken to be such a, standing in front of a jet plane with your designer bag and high shoes. But manifesting is really just making dense matter dense, and manifesting what the energy, or making the energy dense, and manifesting into your life what you desire, like truly desire. And And so it's not just like whether or not if you have physical illnesses, but it can be anything. It can be, having better relationships. It can be having better sex. It can be having knowing your passion and your purpose. It can be your emotional health. It can be your lifestyle. It can be your connection to source. It can be literally anything in terms of that. I I am checking in to see if there's anything else that wants to come up. So, with this episode, my real desire is simply for you to be inspired, to expand beyond what you ever dared dream was possible. And I hope that with this episode, I have planted some seeds in you that can, can sprout and take root and be fertilized so that you may expand beyond what you ever dared dream possible. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm going to be taking an extended break. The Magdalene Voices might be back in somewhere around, I was going to say September, but I mean August. Like August is my idea. Spiritual Business with Maria Stella is probably going to stay up for a little longer, I think. If not, you'll hear from me in that one as well about what plans there are for that. But yeah, an extended break. And two things I want to say is that number one, I'm going to be updating my store, like my shop, because last year I did the Magdalene Rising, which was like a monthly membership club I had, and in those were some amazing topics for every month. Some about the divine feminine and divine masculine, some about fear and love, and I wanna put those up in the shop. I don't know what the price is going to be. They're probably going to be priced around $33, $22. I'm not sure, but they're probably not going to be up when this episode comes out, or maybe they are already when you listen to this. But take a look at that. And then also, if you want to stay connected, come join me on Instagram. I've not been really active for the past month because I've been so caught up with amazing clients and work. But I will begin to use it more, try to use it more, so you can actually stay connected and see where my wildest dreams, or the dreams that I didn't dare dream, are taking me. That's what I have for now. I love you. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being who you are, and for doing the work. I love you. Take care. That is what I had for you in today's episode of the Magdalene Voices. For all of the deeds and the details, find the show notes on my website, mariastella.com. Know that I would love to hear how it resonated with you and what you got from it. So tag me on Instagram or leave me a comment on either my website or YouTube. Finally, if it served you, please take a moment to share it with a friend or on social media. God bless.